You know, in my mind, I wanted to do a lot of things, but I started to realize that God was re-shifting my focus. He's like, you're not called to be a sports guy. You're not called to be, I wanted to be like I was a history lover. I wanted to do archaeology and history. I had the highest score in my high school in the history class. I mean, nobody could even touch me. The valedictorian couldn't even get close. Of course, he was way ahead of me in everything else. But man, I had this special love, man, for history. I could just absorb history. The history teacher would be talking, be giving lectures, everything. Man, I was just taking it in. And then when I gave the papers back, she would just sometimes just shake her head. Because just 2 years before, I didn't even go to school. I wasn't even going to school. I was doing drugs on Mondays and Fridays, at least. And then I found this gift, man. I really love history. And here I'm just acing her class, man. I tell you what, God was working in my life before I even got saved. But even that, God came for that. And God's like, I want to use that in your life, but not for what you think. I want to use it for me. So today I love church history. Today I'm not so easily conned about what the church is because I love history. And history is one of those things that if you don't know it, you're destined to repeat it. Nobody repeats it worse than church people. Goofy things we do. They're the same goofy things somebody did 2-3 generations ago. Nothing new under the sun. It all comes around in circles. I remember in Brother Hagin, man, when I was going to Raymond, he said, hey guys, let me warn you of some things that you're going to see in your lifetime, in your ministerial lifetimes. Okay, one of the top things is be careful of an extreme grace movement. It comes around every so often. Well, some people would say Brother Hagin had an extreme faith movement. And in some ways, maybe he did. But that was what he was called to do. But I never forgot that. And I tell you, 3 times in my life, in 30 years, 3 times I've seen a grace message come around either nationally or on the world scale or just in the place of the town or the churches that I lived around. And every time I tell you what grace will do, grace is such a great message. The devil likes, it's one of those messages, the devil likes to take it. It's a key. But he likes to take it and he likes to cause you to overshoot the target with it. He likes to take it from God's ability, manifest through a person who's believing God. He likes to take it and say, it doesn't matter if you believe God. It doesn't matter what you do. The sacrifice, the blood of Christ covers everything you've ever done, everything you ever will do. It really doesn't matter. The grace is so great that eventually these churches always go, well, everybody's saved. It has to be. I mean, I know a guy. I went to Bible school. There was a big church in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the time. It was the thing at the time. Today, that pastor had thousands of people in his church back then. Today, that pastor is in a historical, traditional, mainline church in downtown Tulsa preaching universalism because of the grace message. Because he tripped over looking at children, just like this chapter starts out with. He looked at children and said, bad things happen to children. And how could God let this happen? And it must just be that the only way he could reconcile it in his own mind was it must just be that God saves everybody in the end. This world's not all that important. In the end, God sorts it out and saves everybody. We don't have too much time today. That's sad, man. We sit around like, hey, going to church next week? What do you mean are you going to church next week? You are the church, man. You better be the church today. That you come to church next week, the only thing that's telling me is, hey, you take the church seriously. See what I mean?